Cyberpunk 2077's Atom Smasher got a major nerf after Edgerunners. Atom Smasher is a nigh-unstoppable force in Cyberpunk, Edgerunners, but in his battle with V in Cyberpunk 2077 he is a lot less intimidating. Atom Smasher, one of Night City's most infamous boogeymen, got a major nerf between Cyberpunk, Edgerunners and Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is CD Projekt Red's most recent release, taking place in the Cyberpunk universe, and was received poorly at launch due to a significant number of bugs. Edgerunners is an anime released on Netflix taking place in the same universe, and the praise it has received has led players to flock back to Night City to give 2077 a second chance. This is fortuitous, as now is the best time to get into Cyberpunk 2077 with the major patches and updates CD Projekt Red has released, but Atom Smasher may be a disappointment. The success of Cyberpunk Edgerunners on Netflix has spurred interest in 2020's Cyberpunk 2077, leading to an unexpected renaissance of sorts. Player interest in Cyberpunk 2077 has skyrocketed on Steam, and while it would be easy to conclude that the newfound enthusiasm is entirely due to the anime's positive reception, the situation is more nuanced. One of the biggest beneficiaries of this reputation boost is the antagonist Atom Smasher. When fans originally played Cyberpunk 2077, they didn't have to wait long to be introduced to Atom Smasher, a murderous cyborg who guards the villainous Arasaka Corporation's secrets. While the game attempts to elicit an emotional response to Smasher by having him injure Jackie Wells, and revealing the fact he's responsible for Johnny Silverhand's death, the fact that Smasher also intersects with Cyberpunk Edgerunners protagonist David Martinez really changes the game. Cyberpunk Edgerunners spoilers ahead. Who is Atom Smasher? Atom Smasher was a punk-turned-army soldier. The details of Atom Smasher's early life are fairly unremarkable. He was born in New York and grew up to be another punk in a world that suffered no shortage of young street thugs. Smasher's initial time as just another face in the criminal crowd came to an end when the rest of his gang was wiped out. Short on options, Smasher decided to join the army. There, he managed to make himself useful for a time, but his superiors eventually discharged him due to a stunning number of conduct violations. It was then that Atom returned to New York and became a mercenary. Atom Smasher's fate? Considering that Atom Smasher is clearly alive and well in the latest Cyberpunk 2077 footage, it would appear that the game is trying to imply that he survived the battle against Morgan Blackhand. After all, Cyberpunk 2077 serves as a kind of alternate timeline follow-up to the events of the Firestorm series. Atom Smasher is a recurring villain in the universe, working for Arasaka as its most lethal enforcer. After having nearly his entire body replaced by cyberware augmentations, he is by far more machine than man and is an incredibly deadly threat, having killed many of Night City's most legendary figures. At the end of Cyberpunk 2077, however, Smasher is finally brought down by V in Arasaka Tower. It's hard to square the depiction of Smasher in Cyberpunk 2077 with his depiction in Edgerunners. In the game, Smasher is defeated by V and at most one or two other allies, depending on which of Cyberpunk 2077's multiple endings the player has achieved, whereas in the anime, Smasher easily takes down multiple Edgerunners along with David, who had earlier destroyed a large Militech force, several Max TAC units, and no small number of Arasaka forces. This can only mean one of two things: either V is strong enough to scale to those kinds of enemies, or Smasher received a significant nerf between the anime and the video game. Theories for Smasher's power scaling in Cyberpunk. One line of thinking posits that Smasher was nerfed in-universe after the events of Edgerunners. After all, the Cyberskeleton was Arasaka's newest top-line test product in Edgerunners, and having Smasher destroy it with little effort certainly makes the company look bad. It's possible, and an Edgerunners Atom Smasher DLC for Cyberpunk 2077 could possibly confirm that after this display Arasaka made changes to Smasher's hardware and programs to reduce his effectiveness, seeing him as a potential threat to the company and its products should he ever choose to defect. Another theory states that V actually is strong enough to defeat Smasher at full power. In Cyberpunk 2077, V can get access to all the same cyberware that David does, minus the cyberskeleton, and has the advantage of not having to deal with cyberpsychosis as Johnny Silverhand's engram helps bear the mental load of his cyberware, according to Cyberpunk creator Mike Pondsmith under the Reddit username TheroMaxMike. Additionally, V has possibly years of training and experience as an edgerunner depending on what Cyberpunk 2077 starting life path players choose even before the events of the game, whereas the whole of the Edgerunners anime takes place in 2076, giving David less than a year of experience at best. It's possible that with V's heightened capacity for cyberware, years of experience, help from Johnny, and the time they spent prepping knowing they would have to fight Smasher at Arasaka HQ, V was better equipped to take Smasher down. The Atom Smasher in Cyberpunk 2077, while still a serious threat, doesn't appear nearly as intimidating as the Smasher of Cyberpunk, Edgerunners. As presented in Edgerunners, he tears David apart apparently only half-trying, while in 2077 V has plenty of tricks to defeat Atom Smasher. It's difficult to tell if Edgerunner's Smasher got a nerf for the game or if Cyberpunk 2077's V is just that good.